that are, sort of working class neighborhoods in New Jersey, you have seen a lot of Chitterelli signs. He has felt that he had the momentum, but whether or not, the machine will prevail tonight, that's what we're about to find out.
And we had Barack Obama had to fly in all the way from Hawaii to save both of these women.
That's right. He went to Virginia and to New Jersey. He did not go to New York City.
But he did make a phone call.
He did make a phone call, said he was really, touching on important issues, but didn't do an official endorsement. I think the oxygen is the mayor's race here in New York City. And that could maybe have an effect in New Jersey because people in New Jersey look at New York City and say what happens there could mean something for us.
Do you really think that if Mamdani wins, that it could have repercussions in New Jersey? Martha, you know New Jersey better than any of us here at this table. Strong.
Jersey roots as well. It's interesting to see if you get a counterbalance vote. If people in New Jersey sort of turn out to try to balance Mamdani in the mayor's race. I also think that the other person who's watching this very closely is Elise Stefanik, because I think if Mamdani wins in New York, she may feel, Hochul wants to be governor, to stay governor there, but Mamdani didn't even endorse Hochul.
Right.
She endorsed him, and he won't endorse her because she refuses to raise taxes in this state, which is going to be a problem.
So we're not giving Mamdani the win, but if he does win, Brett, what kind of damage, if he teams up with Kathy Hochul, could those two do in the state of New York?
So interestingly, the New York City mayor doesn't have as much power as the New York governor.
Right.
So she would almost be a check if she wanted to be to the New York City mayor.
Does she want to be?
When she was on that stage, it didn't look like it when she was holding up his hand, but she has said to other people and reporters that that's what she would do. It's not good enough. If he does win, and we don't know, I mean, who knows? Those polls close at 9 p.m. We'll see. It's the biggest turnout we've seen in 2 decades in New York. But if he wins, Hochul will be in a much weakened position against the Republican nominee, likely Stefanik.
And are you thinking people in New York City are calculating this? Well, I don't like Cuomo, but I might have to vote for him to stop Mamdani. How much of that calculation is happening?
Well, I think one of the biggest questions is that percentage of Sliwa voters, because Trump came out and said, look, I don't really like either of these main candidates, but if you should go for the worst Democrat than the communist, is what the president said when they went to the polls, and figure out if they wanted to pull the lever for Sliwa or if they were going to go over and do what the president asked them to do and vote for Cuomo. So watch the Sliwa margins. Staten Island is obviously a big the only big conservative stronghold in New York City. If his margins are lower there than they were last time around, that's something to keep an eye on.
Does the pseudo endorsement by Donald Trump of Andrew Cuomo help Andrew Cuomo in a city like New York where they just tried to throw this president in prison? This guy's like, oh, this is your guy. And then Mamdani says, well, look, Donald Trump's endorsing my opponent.
Yeah, it did give Mamdani a talking point ahead of Election Day, but it also may move some Sliwa voters off to vote for Cuomo. So the balance there is interesting to factor in. I think it was late. It might have been earlier. Cuomo had to absorb a day of, look, he's Donald Trump's endorsed candidate. But at the same time, it probably moves some Sliwa voters.
All right, we'll see how it shakes out pretty soon. Let's go over to Bill Hemmer at the board. Bill, what do you say?
Jesse, I was not born in New Jersey. I don't live in New Jersey, but I have been stuck in Jersey traffic many times.
Oh, haven't we all?
We'll go ahead and put the board in motion here. Polls closed in New Jersey, about 7 minutes ago? So let's go ahead and check out what we're getting here. And we're getting a few colors starting to bounce in here thus far. It is early. You got about 12% of the vote reporting in the upper left-hand corner. This is the estimated vote that we expect in New Jersey tonight, right about 12%. Mikey Sherrill has an early lead. Why does she have an early lead? In northern New Jersey, you got a heavy population there. You got a lot of Democratic voters. You move down the shore, you get more Republicans. You move to the northwest, you find more Republicans. Right now, if we look, here's New York City right here, okay? This little county right there, that's Hudson County, Jesse. All right, you get about 40% of the vote coming in here. That's a blue county. Mikey Sherrill has an easy lead. If you were to take the Lincoln Tunnel or the Holland Tunnel out of Manhattan, you would go into Hudson County. That's where you find Hoboken and Jersey City, just across the Hudson River. To the west of Hudson is Essex County, highly populated. He's run for governor 3 times, but the first time he ran, he lost in the primary. So it's the second time now he's been on the ballot. 4 years ago, really stunned the country with so he won Ocean County by 36 points, all right? Let me go ahead and put a marker on that just so our viewers remember that. So that was his final margin in this particular county. Right now he's checking in at 26. So you could either expect that number to go higher, or if you're within Chitterelli's campaign, you want that number to go higher in Ocean County. A lot of Republicans live down there. You got Bayhead. You talk to Dana about Bayhead later, so you get the whole rundown, like on the bookstore, the library, all this stuff, okay? Like where you need to go, Jesse, during the summer down there in New Jersey. Tell you one of the reasons why. Let me pop out here to the presidential level, because this is where we were 12 months ago, okay, right? Trump beating Harris. One of the reasons why Republicans felt good about Virginia, and they felt good about New Jersey, and maybe even things break their way to a degree here in New York City, is because the trend they believe has been their friend for some time. You go back to 2020, compare it to 2024, and the election in New Jersey for just last year, okay? Kamala Harris won the state. Now, New Jersey is a blue state. Yeah, they've had Republican governors. Chris Christie's won. Christie Todd Whitman prior to that. That was some time ago, okay? You go back 5 years ago in New Jersey, Biden won the state easily over Trump by 16 points. But 4 years later, all right, here we go yet again. Trump against Harris. He cut the margin by 10 points, losing it by 5.9 on the dot there during that presidential year. Let me pop out here, bring you back to modern day. And the governor's race in New Jersey. Hang on, Jesse. Okay, here we go. That's the margin you see in Virginia, right? Year after year, Trump lost by 10 points, but then he lost by 5. In New Jersey, he lost by 16, but then he lost by 6. New York, a similar story, lost by 23 points in 2020, lost by slightly less than 13 points in 2024. So that is the trend, as they say on Wall Street. And if the trend is your friend, they felt like, you know, this pretty good night could come their way, all right? So where are we now? You're at 16% of the vote count in, too close to call. Let me bop around here a little bit and show you. Let me go here, Jesse. Hang with me. We're going to do this, okay? I want our viewers at home to think about 2 things, northern New Jersey and southern New Jersey. And the reason why that's important is because Trump flipped 5 counties, all right, from his election in 2020 to his election campaign in 2024. I'll put it in. Let me go ahead and clear that off. So here's 2020, all right, against Joe Biden. You see what we're doing here? All blue, all blue. You take this off and go to 2024, and it's pretty obvious. There's a pretty clear split now between the blue team in 2020 and then the Republicans come in 2024. And hang with me. I'll pop this up one more time while we got the time. Boom. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. We are going to jump right into this. And I'll tell you this right now. If you are a Republican, this is looking like it's probably going to be a pretty bad night for you. If you are looking for a message here, or you are looking for something to look forward to moving forward, well, I'll just say this right now. That message is going to be that the shutdown hurt Republicans and costing these races. That's how the media is going to frame it. And I have a host 2 radio shows, one in Huntsville, one in Chattanooga, and I've been talking about this this
Democrat
for
4 years
quite some
ago.
time here.
Watch the number
that
in black here.
The way these races normally
49.7.
go
The end
is
total
pretty
was
simple.
24.4.
You
Now,
look at what
Chiarella's
happened,
campaign
and then the
felt
media
really good
deciphers
about what they
them
were
based
doing
on
in
what
the
they
Garden State.
wanted
They
to
liked
happen.
the way they were running things.
And
but
in
they
this
had one
particular
problem
case, what
4
they
years
wanted
ago.
to happen
You had about
was
250,000 registered
Democrats to
Republicans who
win,
stayed home.
and then they
Why
can
did
say
they
this
stay
is a
home?
trend for
Many
something
believe
moving
that a lot of
forward.
polling
And that
suggested
looks like that's what they're going to
Chiarelli
get. The
did not
race in
have a
Virginia
chance.
already over
Well,
with some
he shocked
Sears.
a lot of people.
Is a good internet
losing
candidate.
by
She's
3.2
very clearly not a
points
good
4
retail
years ago,
politician.
Jesse. So
And that
where we
is
got. I'll
something
just
that
bounce
we
around
have
here.
seen before,
Burlington
and I think we
County
all
got
knew.
half the vote
But for
reporting
some
in.
reason,
Scherer with a 30
there was
point
just some
advantage here. I don't see
very,
much from
there was a
Mercer
lot of
County. This is
energy
where the
around
capital city
her,
Trenton is
even though
as
I never
well. So
really
we'll
thought
watch
that
throughout
energy
the
was
night.
real.
One more thing I'll leave you with, Jesse.
So,
This is
and you
Bergen
can talk to people
County.
who follow this stuff
It's
professionally,
Democrat.
and they basically will tell you the
Populated at
exact same
21
thing.
counties,
They were
one
not
out of
excited
21.
about
10%
her
of
as a
the state
candidate,
population lives in
and because
Bergen
of that,
County.
she
All
found
right, Cheryl
herself
has a 3-point
in a
advantage
situation
right
that she
there.
could not
Here is
win.
where it
Plus,
ended
those
about 4
elections
years
tend to
ago.
go back and forth.
5.6 percentage
They're
points
one-term,
for the Democrat,
one 4-year
Phil
terms
Murphy.
before those
And
individual
just to check of it again, just to refresh your memory,
governors, and it just
3.4
looks like this
percentage
may have been
points
the
there. So we
Democrats'
got a
turn.
ways to
Why?
go.
A
Jesse,
couple of
this is
reasons.
one of
One,
those races now that could
Donald
go
Trump
deep
came
into
in
the night.
with the axe and
So
started
we'll gauge it
laying
throughout the day.
waste
Turnout apparently was very good
to
across
a
your
ton
home
of
state New
people,
Jersey.
and
So we'll check
the
back
federal
in about
government,
30
and
minutes and
that
let you know
is
what
that
moves
area.
between
So
now
that's going
and
to
then.
fire up
Right,
a bunch
it's
of
my
people.
home
You see
state
there were some
now,
exit polls
but I was born in
earlier. I
Philly.
don't see anyone
Never
talking about them
correction
right now,
noted.
but there were some
Correct.
exit
Thank you
polls
so much.
Got it.
that
Okay,
basically
I'm straight
showed
Senior
that
national
the
correspondent
economic
Rich Edson is in
impact
Leesburg,
on
Virginia, where Fox
the
is
state of
projecting
Virginia was real.
Democrat Abigail
And people were
Spanberger
not
will
happy
become
about
the
that. And if
Commonwealth's
they blame
next
Donald Trump for
governor.
that, they'd obviously
They
blame
popping
his
bottles
party for
already?
that. The ongoing government shutdown that is
Not
currently
quite.
underway
You know,
right
Jesse,
now,
I was born
reaching
in
a
New Jersey,
record
but I'm covering Virginia.
day
So we'll talk about
today
Virginia.
and moving
The
on until
ballroom is still
tomorrow.
getting
Well,
full
that
here at
right
the Winston
there
World Series watch
probably
party,
didn't help
even
either
though less
because,
than an
again, of all
hour
those
after
government
polls closed in the
employees.
Commonwealth
And I'm
of
married to a
Virginia, Fox
government
News has called
employee.
this race. We have no
Now,
sense
I am
or
handled.
declaration
I
of
am
victory
married to a
yet for the
government
Span-
employee,
from the Spanberger
and
folks,
I will tell
or
you,
if there has been a
they
call
are
or
not
discussion
happy about
between
not
the two
being at
candidates,
work.
or
They're
if and
definitely
when
not
we're going to
happy
hear
about being paid.
from
even
Lieutenant Governor
they're
Winston
going to
Earl
get that
Sears.
pay
All is not lost yet, though,
eventually,
for the Republicans,
and
we are
it
still
is
watching
pretty
to see
clear.
what
at
happens
least
in
to
that
me,
attorney general race. Typically, it's not a race
Democrats
that
should
you have
walk
much
out of what it
attention
appears
to
we're looking at
when
right
covering
here.
these gubernatorial races, but it was
And
those violent
you're going to
texts
see
from
a
Jay
situation
Jones back in 2022
where
that
they
came
are
up last
emboldened
month,
to hang on to the
upended the whole
shutdown.
race, but all
And I don't think the
Democrats
Republicans
in
are
the
going to
state
cave
tough
on
position
this.
to
This is all
come out
about
with some type of
whether or
response
not
to it.
Democrats
Spanberger had
are
said,
going to
"Don't
cave,
like the
and
text,
when
but we
are
can't
they
call
going
on
to
Jay
cave?
Jones to
A
drop
split
out of the race."
decision
So we'll
today
see if Spanberger
would
has
have been
won by
very
a
helpful
margin here as to whether
in
or not
helping
she can bring
Democrats
Jay
come to the
Jones over
conclusion
the
that maybe
finish line, or
it
if
is time to
Republican
cave.
incumbent
But they
Jason
did not
Miyares is
get
going
that
to hang on to his
answer.
seat.
It
He's
doesn't
been
look like
telling
they're going to
people
get that
throughout
answer
the day, "Hey
here
guys,
today. It looks
split your
instead
ticket. Go ahead, vote
like
for
what you're going
Spanberger,
to
but,
see here
vote
is
for
a
Miyares, too.
scenario
If you're gonna vote for
where
Spanberger,
Democrats
vote
are
for
going to have a
Miyares, too.
pretty damn
Jesse?
good day
All right, Rich, thank you so
across
much.
the board. They've already
Now,
been
Sandra
projected
Smith
to win
has
the
the
Virginia
Fox
race,
News
the
voter
New York
polls
City
from
thing.
Virginia that
The only
could give us
question
an
is how
idea
much of a
why
blowout
Spanberger
is
won.
that
So
going to be?
specifically, Sandra, what are
And
you
you have a
seeing
city
that moved
that
Virginia
truthfully
voters?
has
She carried key
absolutely
groups by
no
significant
voter
margins, really,
rules or
Jesse,
anything
as far
like
as
that,
the strengths that we're
and they
seeing
can just
show
go and
up,
do whatever they want to do.
college voters, those with a
I will
college
tell you
degree
that
in
is
Virginia,
something that I think
she
as we
garnered
look at it,
60% of their vote.
it is
She got the
definitely
youth
not
vote,
something where
67% of
Silla
it. 9 out
or
of 10
Andrew
black
Cuomo
voters
was going
in
to win.
Virginia,
And can we talk
cast
about
their
the Andrew
ballot
Cuomo
for
thing for a
Spanberger.
second?
I'll also show you what we're seeing
What the
is
fuck?
appearing to be
I
a
mean,
pretty
for lack
big
of a better way to
gender
put it,
gap in
what is
Virginia in
Donald
this
Trump
race.
doing?
I
understand they want to stop
they
Mamdani,
supported
but
Spanberger. hamburger. That's about
Cuomo
a
was never going to be able to do
24-point
that. Everyone
margin,
knew that looking
that
at
went
it
to
from 10,000
Spanberger.
miles away.
The mail vote in Virginia.
Why in the world
Winsome Sears did
they
get that
run in
vote. There's
there
about an
and
8-point
at
spread
the
there, but
last
you're
minute
looking
throw
at
their
what
support
adds up to be
behind
about a 32-point age gap.
Andrew Cuomo? He
in
was never going to win
Virginia.
that race.
Lastly, I'll show you
If
this.
they
We know
wanted
the
to support
federal
him, get
workers
in there and
Virginia,
support him big
we are
time
watching closely affected
before
by those
this.
federal cuts.
Well,
For
get in
those
there,
who
spend
said,
real money,
when they cast their vote
have a
that they
real
were a federal
campaign,
employee,
do what
worried
you
about
gotta
those
do.
cuts, obviously.
But going
they
in there at the
cast
last
their
minute
vote
and just
for
saying, hey, we're
Spanberger
gonna
by a pretty
continue
overwhelming
doing this kind of
margin.
stuff,
Really
and
starts
the
to
way
paint
we're
the
gonna make it
picture,
work
Jesse, as to how
is
Spanberger
we're
pulled
going to
off
come at the
victory there.
last second.
All right, thank you
I
so
don't
much,
know.
Sandra.
And I don't think
So results
Cuomo
are
and
rolling
Trump
in from New
particularly
Jersey,
like each
and
other. I
polls
mean,
in
if
New
you
York
may
City are
remember,
about to close.
over the last
Straight
couple
ahead.
of years, Cuomo was the guy who was supposed to undo Trump. Remember,
Good
remember all
Ranchers
that?
is delivering
During
American
the
sourced
pandemic, when
proteins
they
the
sent
way
us
it
home,
used to be.
and they
farm
told us we
to
weren't allowed to
family.
go to work,
Over
and
30%
they
of the
said,
food sold
go
in
out
grocery
and
stores goes
you
to
know,
waste.
work from home.
And many of us
Can't
don't give
spend
it a
money,
second
but
thought.
you know, don't worry.
Our
you
meat
can
and
still.
seafood is individually portioned
Bars
and
aren't
vacuum
open,
sealed,
but
locking in
liquor
freshness
stores
and
are.
flavor.
Allowing you to feed your
Churches aren't
family
open,
with
but
what
liquor
you
stores
need
are.
while
Remember all that
reducing waste.
nonsense? Yeah.
Visit
Well,
goodranchers.com.
Andrew
and
Cuomo
discover
was like the
American
poster boy
meat
for that. He was supposed to be the guy.
Hello, I'm Franklin Graham.
And
We've all been
complete
watching
embarrassment.
the storm Melissa as it
Complete,
hit Jamaica.
total,
The
utter
destruction is just
embarrassment.
incredible.
Not only was he
Samaritan
a
Spurs
creep,
is responding with
but
planes
he was bad
taking
governor.
supplies and people in
and
out
at
of
this
Jamaica.
point in time, it just really
We've got,
seems
helicopters
like we're
that'll
looking
be
at
working over the
a
mountains and
really
some of
bad
these remote areas
situation
where people are still cut off. So
for
much
Andrew
destruction
Cuomo
taking
and
place. So please
still
pray for them. We want
Mamdani's
everyone there to know
Walmart.
that God loves
Now
them and cares
they're
them.
doing polls
So
and
we need
stuff,
your
and
prayers.
they're
God
showing on
bless you.
Fox
Thank you.
News, what I think is a pretty funny series of polls where they're asking about how people feel right now. Immigration enforcement has gone too far.
Muscle and bone health.
Remember that? Yeah, immigration enforcement has gone too far. They have also believed that they're angry about where the country is right now. So obviously, that's the position of the Democratic Party and their message. And don't forget, I mean, as we look at this,
from choking each year. That's
you're going to
I'm Dr.
definitely
Ben
see that
Carson,
situation
and I'm author with
in
there are ways to help prevent
California
choking. Accidents
passed.
do
I don't think
happen.
there's any
That's why I
question about
invented
that.
the light back.
Thank you, everyone. By the way,
Anyone can
we've got a
use
new
this
streaming
device, and it
system
can
set
save a
up
life
here
in
from what we've normally
seconds.
done.
Just place, push, and pull.
It's spread across
It's
lots
that
of different
simple. Please order
things.
one
So
for
we've
your
got
home,
TikTok
office, car, anywhere you
listeners
eat.
Go to lifehack.net or call
877-543-3822.
We also have people on YouTube, stuff like that. Just diversify it out across the board. So we're closing at about 1,000 people all combined. And I got to tell you, thank you very much. If you could, I would appreciate this. Maybe give a like, or share it, or something along those lines, or make a comment or something. Tell me what you think is going to happen here. And let me ask you this question. I'll just ask this question here, and you can answer it right now. Is there any place the Republican/conservative movement is going to win tonight? Is there a single place they're going to win tonight?
Consumers
I thought maybe New Jersey, but I'm never feeling good about that at all.
We don't play
I
games.
didn't think
What
there
you
was
see
a
is what
single
you get.
place they were going to pick
No
up
hot air,
a
just
victory, and it
plans
looks
starting
like
at $20.
that we're probably going to be heading in that way.
Bet you're
looking at some
glad
of
you
the
wore
exit
cargo
polls
pants.
and things like that now.
Because cargo pants
whole
have all
thing,
those pockets. You can
about
see how
New
we can
York
cut
still
your
voting
bills.
and all this
Plans
other stuff.
start at just $20.
It's almost
Call Consumer
9 o'clock
Celebrate.
there. 8:30
Milo's
there.
been missing for nearly 5 hours now. It's not
out there because they do polls until 9 p.m. So it gives people an opportunity to vote multiple times because they don't even ask you for ID.
All a coincidence?
So they don't even ask you for ID. They let you do whatever. You could go up there. You could have gone up there today and said, "Hey, yeah, I live at 123 French Street," and they would have just handed you a ballot, and they would have said, go completely nuts and do whatever you want. And that, of course, is not how all of this is supposed to work. But there we are. We're about 38 minutes away from
but
getting
he
out there.
did an incredible thing for my
that
family.
Mamdani is going to be named the victor
in 10 minutes,
relatively
you can be
quickly.
covered
I mean,
with
that's
life
exactly what's going to happen.
Check your price today at ethos.com.
And it doesn't look as if
late night election coverage. Trace Gallagher breaks down the results so far
this is
and
going to
what
be
it signals about the
a
nation's
very
future
bad night
live on
for
Fox
Republicans.
News at night.
All you have to do is look at some of the numbers
Why
here,
spend weeks
and it will
overpay
show
for
you
stone
just
when
that
you
in
can get the
the
same
Virginia
high-end
race.
look in just
Just
hours with
depressing.
Gemstone.
I mean, just
These
absolutely
easy-to-install Gemstone
depressing
panels
here.
give your home the look of
Take a
real
look at this.
stone for about
And
half
see
the cost.
you have
Gemstone product I find very
basically,
versatile, very
her already
affordable, very
projected to
clean
defeat it
install.
on
You
the
get the
Fox
same
News
finished
page.
look of stone
They're
product.
making the
I think
argument
it's a
that this thing is
fantastic
already
product, and I don't see
pretty
us
much over.
going
And
back
they
to the
refer to
traditional
it
stone
as
method
a
anytime
historic
soon.
win.
And now with the
don't-
Gemstone visualizer,
I don't get it.
you
I
can
don't
upload
understand
a
the
photo of your home
inside of
and
it.
instantly see how Gemstone would enhance your home. Choose your perfect color
I
and
listened
bring
to
your
a
vision
guy,
to life. Just like this project
think his
that
name is
started
the
in
Black
the
Conservative-
visualizer
Black
and
Conservative
finished with a
Perspective.
stunning transformation.
And he refers
Text
to
Stone to 59583 to try out the
obsession
visualizer right now.
with different
Once you have your
forms
design,
of
click
wokeness
price your project,
and
our
identity
pros will tell you
as
how
the
much
Infinity
Gemstone you need
Stones
and even guide you or your
of
installer through your
oppression.
project.
And
Text Stone
some
to
Sears has
59583 to see Gemstone on your
she's
home
got two of
today.
those Infinity
There are
Stones,
only a few
right?
men I trust
And
with my
she's
life.
still
Two of them
was unable
I've known the guys
to
proof
win
for
in
nearly
that
20
race.
years.
They
and we've been
tried
through
their
hell and back
best.
together. When they told me they were
Instead,
building the wall, I just said,
to
build
get
me
in
now.
there
I mean,
and
this
make
isn't
the
some
argument that
fashion
Abigail
piece.
Spanberg
This isn't just some trend.
was the right
These
person
walls are a direct reflection
for
of the kind of men who
this
built it. It's
particular
built to
time.
last,
And
built to
again, Glenn
function,
Youngkin was completely
designed to
fine
carry
as a
everything you
governor. I
need
think
more.
he
If anything happens to
good
it, they'll take
Republican
care of
governor.
it.
He
No
went in there
questions,
and
no
he
fine
fought
print.
those
If you
fights.
knew the guys who
But just
created
keep
this
this in
wall,
mind.
you wouldn't carry anything else. Go check
And
them
just
out.
keep this in
because they
mind. Now,
built this
coming up
thing right.
here in Virginia, you're going to see what happens when Democrats get their way. You're definitely going to see
Abigail
it.
Spanberg is the projected winner in Virginia,
for that
which
upset,
means
but they didn't
all
get it.
eyes on
They
New
didn't get
Jersey,
it. But you're going to
where polls
see
have just closed,
Democrats
results
take
pouring
back
in.
Virginia, and
Fox
with
News
that,
national
here's what they're going to do.
correspondent Brian Yennis,
They're going to come
live
in,
from Chitterelli
and they're
headquarters
going to
in
go and
Bridgewater,
undo
New Jersey.
all the
What's up,
things
Brian?
that Glenn Youngkin did.
Hey, Jesse,
So they're
well,
gonna
look, the
undo
Chitterelli campaign knew going into Election Day that it was all
and the
about
people
turnout.
have decided
Democrats had a
that they are
big early vote
completely okay with
margin
that
heading into tonight.
Virginia,
Some 300,000
based on
more
what's
registered
going on there
Democrats cast their
with
early
the
votes
situation
more than
involving
Republicans. So there was high
federal
turnout.
government
It
and the
seems
federal
by all
government
indications
shutdown.
that that's here. The
On
question
MSNBC
is,
right
how
now,
many of those are
they are
Republicans?
having
How many
a
more are they
conversation
Republicans? And
about
whether or
the
not Chitterelli
redistricting
was
effort.
able
They're
to win
really
over
terrified
a pretty
about
big,
this.
sizable
And that's one of the
majority of
why
those
the California
independent voters
situation,
in this
which
state.
will
The reality
not
is
take
that this
very
is
long at
Chitterelli's
all. I'll help
third
you
time
with that
running
one
for
too.
governor, but it was the first time he
That's
ran
going to
as
go
a
in their
pro-Trump
favor.
candidate.
But you've got
President endorsed him,
redistricting
and when you
taking
talk to
place
the Chitterelli
in
campaign,
multiple different
they'll tell
places.
you there was
And Wes Moore, you see him
enthusiasm on the
smiling there on
ground
MSNBC.
like they have never seen.
Wes
They had
Moore is
maybe
sitting
one,
there,
for instance,
and
rally in
he is
2021
going to
with 350
make the
people.
point
Now they had
that,
dozens
hey,
of
look,
events with
we've
hundreds
won.
of people. They
We
felt
won
like they
today.
had
We're moving in the
enthusiasm
right
on their
direction.
side. The biggest
Americans,
issue in
these
this race
Democrats,
was high
be able to
prices,
say,
the high
who want
property
us to
taxes,
go and
the
move
rising
forward
energy costs this
on our
summer.
redistricting
Chitterelli
plan.
made the
And,
case
some
that this
states
election
will
was all about
make
changing
further
from
moves on our
Democratic
redistricting.
state
We've
leadership
talked about
after
it,
8 years under
at
Governor Phil
length
Murphy.
on all my
But his
radio
opponent,
shows,
Democrat Mikey
where
Sherrill,
you
made
could
this race also
clearly
about
see
President Trump. And
that
she argued that
Democrats
she would
and their
defend New
redistricting
Jersey
efforts
from
have
President
already
Trump's
kind of
policies.
poured
Her
all the fruit
campaign
they're going
was
to
called
bear,
even by some Democrats
because
as being
what they've
milquetoast,
done
and there were
is
questions
they have
as to whether or not she could really
been
bring out the brown
gerrymandering
and
for
black
years.
vote.
So their
Her
ability to
campaign, though, really
gerrymander
zeroed in
and
on that
make that
anti-Trump
an issue
message, and they brought in big Democratic
for
Party
other states,
stars
it's going to
into
be
the
kind of hard,
state. Nearly
and the states that
every
haven't
single
been
Democrat you can
gerrymandered
think of that would run in
because
2028
different
made
things
a
like the
stop
Voting
here in
Rights
New
Act and
Jersey,
things
from
like that.
Wes Moore and Gretchen
Those
Whitmer, the
individual
two
states
governors,
are going to be looking at a different thing, because if
Pete
they're given the
Buttigieg,
green
and of
light by
course,
this
former
Louisiana
President
ruling,
Obama
I don't
making
think
his stop
we'll
in
be
Newark.
seeing, I believe
Their
that's Steve
campaign
Kornacki
feels really good about
there,
that
and
momentum
Wes
heading
Moore
into
on
tonight.
MSNBC.
So the bottom line
You
is
will
that there
not
was
see
full
them
agreement here about what the issue was. The cost
running
of living
around
was too high,
and
but
chatting
quite
about
frankly,
how
who
happy
do these
they are
voters blame?
to
And
see
when you
all
talk
this
to the
happen.
Chitterelli
That
campaign
is not
too,
how they're going
they
to
are
look at it.
looking
That
at
is
voters
definitely
in South
not
New
how they're
Jersey.
going
They're
to be
looking at
framing that
Ocean
later.
County
They're going to see
and
this,
Monmouth County.
and they're
They
going to
really
say,
need
oh,
to
God,
rack up
why did we
votes
open
there
up
in
this
that
can of
red-rich
worms,
area along
and
the
this did
Jersey
not
Shore.
work out in
But
our
they're
favor?
also optimistic about the
Lieutenant
Lakewood
Governor in
Five
Virginia,
and
you
4
see that
other
right there
Orthodox
on
Jewish
MSNBC
councils
in the bottom
in New Jersey.
left-hand
They
corner
got
there.
the historic
You
unity
have
endorsement from all 5 of those
Gazala,
Orthodox counties, and they
Shami,
think they could get
that
tens of
and
thousands
that
more
race
votes
has really
from
been
those
talked about, the big
areas.
race
So
at the
that's
top
a
of the
place
ticket,
where they're looking at tonight as
between
well.
Abigail,
But you know, President
Spanberger
Trump made
and,
huge inroads in New
Errol
Jersey. He
Sears.
flipped 5
You
counties.
saw
He had a
these,
10-point swing his
and
way,
those
even though he
stories
lost this
dominated. Plus,
it's really going to come down to whether or not Chitterelli is able to
guy
keep all of those
said you
inroads
should
and at the
kill,
same time win over
Republican
independents and
elected
win over some
officials and
Democrats
their children.
who agree with him that,
That guy's
the
going to
problem
win.
here in New Jersey
Again,
isn't President Trump's
it
policies.
is very hard
The
for me to
problem
understand how
is 8
Democrats can
years
take
under
the high
Governor
ground
Phil
here
Murphy, which is
and
why
have
their
this
electric
guy
bills
as their
went up
attorney
and
general.
why
I
their
don't know how
property
they're going to
taxes
do
haven't
that
gone down.
Or are they
We'll
going
find
to
out
ask
soon
him
as
to
this room
resign?
fills
I
up
don't
here
know.
at the election
I have
planning,
no
Jesse.
idea.
All right, thanks so much. Let's bring in Fox News senior political
Commentators
analyst
will tell you that they're
Britt
not going to
Hume.
do that.
Britt, you just heard Brian
And
say
as
that
results
voters
are rolling
complaining
in for,
about high taxes
the
and high
race
utility
in
bills.
Jersey,
The
again,
Democrats
early
have
on
been
in
in
the
charge
race.
in New Jersey for
Carroll
8 years.
61.7%.
What does that tell you?
Generally, looking at
well, you know, Jesse, it's not just the Democrats in New Jersey. It's also the Democrats in Washington
at play too. And there hasn't been really a lot of talk about it.
After all, if you're looking for a single cause
in New Jersey that hasn't gotten a lot of attention,
remained persistently high for the past 6 or 7 years now, you have to look back to the so-called American Rescue Plan proposed by Democrats in Congress, signed into law by Joe Biden. It was $1.9 trillion.
I mean, that's really what they're going to be able to do. They're going to beat their chest and say, look,
COVID was over.
The
money
momentum
was
is in our
arguably
favor.
not needed at all.
That we won New
and it was
Jersey,
a flood
we're
of
winning
currency
Virginia, we're
into
doing
the,
all these
into the
things.
economy that
And
clearly had a
as
major
you
role
look-
in pushing up the prices that
It's going
people
to be
are still
bad. It's
experiencing.
going to be bad. And I think this could have an impact
and she
on
voted for that.
the
I don't
government
think the issue
shutdown.
was used against
I
her.
really
It
do.
certainly
I think it
be.
could absolutely
It'll
have
be
an impact
interesting
on the
to see if
government
Republicans
shutdown.
will
I think
pounce
it
on
will
that
tell us
going forward
that
as
they could
Democrats try their
potentially
best to make
continue with the
affordability,
government
i.e.
shutdown
inflation,
even further,
a big issue.
because
so let's
Democrats
move it
are
down
going
to
be
Virginia. It
emboldened,
looks like
after
Spanberger's going to be able to
They
pull
are
that out.
absolutely
That's what
going
Fox
to be
is
emboldened,
projecting.
after tonight, because
If she wins,
it's gonna
and the
look,
Democrats
I mean, it's
tell
not
their
gonna look,
base, see,
it
we have a
is
lot of fight.
that
We've
they
just got
have
the governor down here.
won
Will
this,
that make them more likely to reopen
I'm seeing
the
some that
government?
I'm beating doom and gloom. I'm not beating doom and gloom. I'm a realist.
I don't know that that's really the big play.
Realist. I'm not here to suggest to you that there's like some sort of
I think one thing
of
and one
answer
thing
here
only,
that
and
would have
is
been better
resistance to Donald Trump
Republicans
in any
hadn't
way
gone
that
their way.
the Democrats can
say
appear
that,
to be resisting him, to be
what does that
fighting
even
him,
look like?
to be opposing him in every possible
What does it
way.
look like?
And that
what
is
does it
what that
look like?
shutdown
Because,
is basically about. And
the
when
fact
you think
is,
about it, Jesse, behind
they
all the
just
issues
don't
that
have
have,
the
been,
juice
raised during
in
these
order to fight what's
campaigns
been
across
going
the
on
country,
with
including
the
the
cuts
one
to
in
government in
California
Virginia,
for the
New Jersey
on
is
the
New
issue
Jersey.
of redistricting.
This
The feeling about Trump is behind it. He is the
Republicans
colossus,
look
the
at New
political
Jersey
colossus of our time.
with the
and nearly
same
everything is
stupid
about whether
eyes
you oppose him or whether you
that Democrats
support
look
him.
at places.
So you mentioned
like,
California.
Texas.
If Gavin gets this redistricting Prop 50 through, can he point to himself and say, "Look,
with Raphael
when I took
Warnock
on
and
President Trump, I got 5 more seats
John
for
Ossoff?
the Democrats in the House. Look at me.
That's a
look at me.
rarity.
Look what
Okay,
I can do."
those were freaks of nature. Those
I think
events
he can do that.
are not events that should have
I
taken
think
place.
that's a great deal of what this is
And
all
eventually,
about, because
they
it
will
doesn't
right
seem to matter
themselves
much to voters
start
who
in
want
this
to resist
next
Donald Trump
upcoming
how they do
election.
it.
But
if you're against
I'll
him
tell
and
you,
you
it
appear to be
doesn't
fighting him and you're
I
showing
don't
it in every
think,
every ostensible
that
way,
as we look at this today,
that is I think
Republicans
thought to
are
be
very
the
good at
path to success within
I
the
just
Democratic
don't
Party,
think
and I think that's
that's
exactly
gonna be
what
something
Gavin
they're
Newsom
gonna
has
be
in
able
mind.
All right.
to look
Great
at.
deal. We'll be back
And
to
say,
you
okay, yeah,
in a
this
little
is
bit.
pretty good.
Thank
So
you.
you'll see some where
Fox
the
News decision desk
simple
can now
question will
project
be,
the Democratic
what did
state
tonight mean?
senator
And the night meant
Ghazala
Democrats
Hashmi
have
will serve as Virginia's
so
next
they
lieutenant
are
governor.
continuing to talk
Hashmi
about
will be the first
a
ever
lot of this
Muslim
when it
woman
comes
elected to
this
statewide
lieutenant
office.
governor's race.
She defeats
there in
Republican
Virginia.
John
So you have
Reed.
the Republican
Let's
governor,
bring in Bill
Republican,
Hemmer at the
Lieutenant
board.
Governor
Bill.
Jesse, good evening again. 8:30 East Coast time here. Polls have been closed in New Jersey for about 30 minutes.
Youngkin
And
obviously
there's
not
some folks
running,
out there calling
for
for Mikey
re-election.
Sherrill.
Anyway,
We're
you
not
have
doing
Youngkin
that yet. 27% of the votes counted here.
Youngkin leaving.
There's a big reason for that. Actually, there's a couple big reasons for that.
Lieutenant Governor's
This is
office,
Morris County, okay? There's no data in. All right, you got
Governor, so she's
0%
gone.
reporting. Last time
The Jay
Chitterelli
Jones
ran against
guy,
Phil Murphy
he's gonna
4
win.
years ago. He won Morris County by 11
let's
points,
just-
so we're going
let's just be
to keep
clear.
our
He
powder
is
dry
going to
on that.
win.
This is Passaic County,
And
just north
he is
of there.
going- he is
Phil
going to
Murphy,
win,
the Democrat, won this county
sort of
4
going
years
away,
ago.
and
Right
he is
now,
going
in Passaic
to,
County, there is
he
no
wins.
data available. Both of those
I think
counties,
they're gonna
Jesse, by the way,
call
were 2 of the 5
a little bit
that
of a
Trump flipped
question
against Kamala Harris
about
12 months
whether or
ago.
not
So we're kind of we'll take our time as
And
we
this
move
is-
through there
it should stay in that
tonight. Also
position.
back
And
in
they're gonna say, yeah.
2021, you see this red all down
They're
here?
gonna say,
okay?
yeah, go
You
ahead.
see that
Let him
red
stay in
ocean
that
there for
position.
Chitterelli?
And the Attorney
Well,
General
I mean,
of
we
that
got a
state
big combination here of red and blue
is
so
going to
far.
be a guy who
this is
said he
Monmouth
wanted
County, all right?
to
4
have a
years ago,
Republican elected official
Chitterelli won the
killed.
county almost by 19 points.
But
right now, he trails by
that's
almost 2 points.
after.
Do we think that's going to stick?
Let's
Is
be
it
real
really a
about this.
20-point
That's
swing
after,
in 4 years' time?
they
We're
killed the
talking
kids,
about what? Red Bank
and they have to
Rumson
lay
and
in their
Long
mother's
Branch
arms.
into
So this is
Asbury
what
Park
somebody
and
said.
Manasquan
In
Monmouth County.
It looks like that's
You know,
still
it's a shade
won
of a
today.
blue right
and
now.
we all know.
It's not a dark blue. It's a light
we
blue.
can do the
We'll see
thing,
whether
the
or
talk
not
radio
that
thing.
holds up. My bet will say
thing that Republicans
that
do,
it's
and they're
not
not wrong
gonna be
to
that
do
way,
this.
but we'll see as the numbers tick
They-
in.
they're
To the
not
south
wrong
there
to
at
do this.
41%.
But
This
they
is
will
Ocean
point
County.
out
Chitterelli's got a
that
solid
if it
lead
were
there.
a Republican,
Let's see where he
we'd have been
finished
looking
4
at a very
years
different
ago.
situation.
All right, he
And you
finished at
can't say
36
that
points
because
ahead of Phil
it's
Murphy.
absolutely
So
true.
he trails by about 9
zero
right
question
now, based on the
that
reporting.
if this
with,
was
about half
a Republican who said, hey, you know what we should do? We should kill
down here in the South, that southern
Democratic
tip. You
candidates.
might remember Jeff
their
Van
children
Drew, a
should
Democratic
die in the arms
congressman
of
from
their
New
mothers.
Jersey.
I mean, I'll give you a
After
perfect example.
Trump
Yesterday,
won in 2017,
this morning,
he crossed parties, left the Democratic
Party,
went to the
Alabama
Republican Party. They've had a ton of rallies down here, big turnout down there.
With that guy,
right now, Chitterelli
it
leads
was
with
pretty
about a third
clear
of the vote
that
in.
he and I are on the same side of most issues.
He won Cape May by 25 points.
I think
okay,
that
so
a
that's
lot of
part of the reason
believe
why
he has been
can't call New Jersey just
maybe a
yet,
little
and
too
we
friendly
have
to
not.
the Alabama Education Association.
I would expect these counties, Jesse.
You know, hey,
I mean, I'll show you.
Here's the deal.
I'll show you why.
We all
At the
know the
presidential
AEA,
level,
which is basically
in southern New
political
Jersey.
of the
This is what
Alabama
happened,
Democratic
okay?
Party
Listen,
as
I mean, this
most
is an ancient
education
history I'm
associations
talking about. I'm
generally
talking about
are.
12 months ago. All right?
If they
Let's just run through them, shall we? Southern New Jersey, Salem County.
Excuse me.
You know,
If they
21
could,
of 21.
they
all
would
right, you don't have a ton of people who
hide
live
under the
down
bed
there.
of every
Trump
Republican
won the
in the
county
state.
by 20 points.
They're throwing
Popping
their
over here to
sleeve in
Cumberland
different
County,
places.
Trump won the county by almost 4
It's a
points. That
metaphor.
was another flipper.
And a bunch
This
of
is
people
Atlantic
pretend that
County.
they don't
That's
know what
where
a
you find
metaphor
Atlantic
is.
City.
I'm okay
Trump
with
was a
that.
winner there
I
by
get
3
it.
points. Again, another
don't have
flipper
to-
there. This is
you don't have to
Gloucester.
understand the metaphor.
One of the
you know.
5 counties that he
You can
flipped.
pretend you think
Trump
that's
had an advantage
a
there
call
of
for us.
almost 3
And
points.
at the same time,
yes,
I just truly believe, I truly believe that you guys understand what metaphors are. My audience understands what metaphors are.
In the state of New
but
Jersey, that are all
it's
blue
very
right
strange
now,
when you
you
see
have to
people
ask
say
yourself
things like,
whether or not
"You're
that's going to
calling
stay
for
that way."
violence.
So too soon to call, Jesse.
calling for violence.
Just about
You're calling for
8:35
violence.
in the evening. Polls
This
have
scenario,
already been
you realize
for
that
35
I was
minutes.
talking about the people
Sir.
I disagree
All right, we'll be
with
back to the
politically.
big board pretty soon. But up next, we're going to take you inside the
We're the
Mamdani
ones
headquarters.
that would be doing the violence. I wasn't. So it's not a call for violence. If anything, you could argue it's a false.
Terrifying.
I know what I meant. I know what I said. If
Sean
anything, you could say that it
is the
was
most
a
dangerous
false smear
politician
of
in the United
Democrats
States.
and the AA saying they would be violent, and that's not what it was. It was a metaphor.
Close attention because this is the new
And
face
that's
of
exactly
the
what was going
Democratic
on.
Party.
And yes, I do see you there in the
uneducated
chats,
and knowing
guys.
how to
They
run
come
the
in,
greatest city in the world.
multiple platforms,
The
but one thing, so I
Socialist
missed some
Surge, hosted by
occasionally.
Lawrence
Feel free to
Jones,
keep
streaming
doing it.
now on Fox
I'll give you
Nation.
an example. This one comes in. Nothing screams fair election.
a true American hero. This decorated
American
veteran
cities who
earned a
don't
Silver
vote
Star.
for what he wants.
More weight on
Yeah,
me.
look,
I was in such extreme
I'm not going to sit
pain.
here and defend
I was
Donald Trump and that
drinking
kind of
more.
talk.
I was
I
taking
don't
more
like
pain
it. Okay,
pills.
I am not a
when I
big fan
started
of that
using
kind of talk.
Mamdani,
I
it
think
was
that
literally
it
like
doesn't
a
help
miracle.
either.
There's no more
So on
anxiety,
top of
there's
everything
no
else,
more anger,
I think
there's
it's
no more
incredibly
pain.
self-defeating
It's an incredible product.
for him to be
proudly
talking
supports
like
the
that.
Patriot Fund.
And I
Available
think it's
now
kind of
at
silly for him to
Walmart,
do so, and I don't think
Target,
it worked.
and Amazon
I don't think
with
anyone
free shipping.
in
Order
New York
now.
City was like, oh, well, I guess I
My
won't
son
vote
was
for the
always a
guy
happy-go-lucky kid.
that Donald
25
Trump
when
doesn't
he got
like
in
because
there.
he's threatening the city. I
You
just
walk
don't,
in
I
the
don't think that's
intensive
very
care
effective.
room
So
now.
no, I don't like
You don't
that.
even recognize
Yeah, I just, again, we're going to
The
free
need
election.
for Wounded Warrior Project continues.
He lost.
Your support is
Donald Trump
even
went in
more
there and
important
pushed for
now
Andrew Cuomo.
because
Nobody
the
thinks Andrew
greatest
Cuomo
casualty
in this election.
is being forgotten.
Okay?
It was
Nobody
a real
thinks that.
hard time for us.
Does
And
anyone
then walks
think
Wounded
that
Warrior
that's what's going to
Project.
happen?
That's right there is
Okay,
where
that's,
everything
I'm
started
sorry, these
changing.
people
Our
don't
donors
understand
help
it,
Eric's
but,
family
you know,
receive
it is your
programs
problem.
and services
And that's a
that
person, a
rebuilt their
metaphor like when
lives.
the president
Please
shits
join
on the
those who are
American
already
people.
faithfully giving.
Or is it a metaphor when he says
Call
he
or go online
cares
with
about
your gift
America?
of just
Yeah, I'm
$19
sorry,
a
you don't
month.
know what a metaphor is.
Eric's
Like, I don't know
come
how
a
to help
long
you.
ways, and
Okay,
he doesn't give
it's
up.
unfortunate for you.
Do you?
But that
You just
is
keep fighting and
what
pushing
it is.
forward.
Dale, did you see
My life
that
is
Trump
not
has
what I
renominated
planned,
Jared
but
Isaacs
Wounded Warrior Project
for
has
NASA?
helped me get past the pain
Well,
and negativity.
no, I have not seen that. I have not seen that.
Call or go online with your gift of $19 a month.
I find
and
that
we'll
to be
send
very
you this Wounded Warrior
interesting
Project
if
blanket
that's
as a thank
true.
you.
If that's true
very
that he
powerful
did.
logo. One warrior
Because
carried
he
another
withdrew
one off
once
the
already.
backfield.
So
The way I see
if
it
he
is
did, that's sort
the
of a
people of this
backtrack there by
nation
Donald Trump, not
carried
unheard
that
of
warrior.
on his part. So let me go look this up.
Please give
yeah,
a little to
Trump
those
has
who
renominated
gave so
Jared
much
Isaacson
for us.
as the NASA administrator after
this shirt is a must-have in your closet.
So,
I was tired
yeah,
of floppy
there he
collars
goes.
and shirts with
So,
sweat stains.
yeah,
So I got
mean,
this shirt I saw
great.
on TV. And now
I
I
think
don't
a
have
lot
to
of
work.
people
I got
at
it
the
shipped in no
agency
time, and I switched from regular polos to
wanted
this
that.
immediately. The brand is called
And I
Collars
think
& Co. They make a
Elon Musk
regular
was the
stretchy
one
golf shirt, but
who
the top
really
is a firm
wanted
collar on it. I
him
got
as
rid of
well.
so
So
many
Elon Musk
problems
was not
by
too
upgrading
happy
to this.
about
No
that.
dry cleaning needed anymore.
But Donald Trump,
I'm
I guess,
free from
tweeted out that
uncomfortable long sleeves,
Sean Duffy has
and
done
the
an
collars
incredible
stay
job
stiff all
as
day.
interim administrator of the National
Get
Aeronautics
20%
Space
off today
Administration.
using code
This
TV
evening,
at
please nominate Jared
collarsandco.com.
Isaacson
Vehicle
as
breakdowns are
accomplished
costly.
leader,
It started
philanthropist, pilot,
Started making some
astronaut,
really weird
and administrator
noises.
of NASA.
If your check engine
Shares
light
passion
comes on
for space,
tomorrow,
astronaut,
the repair could easily cost thousands.
astronaut
Is that
experience,
transmission?
and dedication to the founders
But with
of
endurance,
exploration, unlocking
you
the
could
mysteries
never
of the
pay
universe,
out of pocket for a
advancing
costly repair
the new
again.
space
They covered
economy.
a $14,000
Blah 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 blah. Yes, so it is
Got a brand new
Jared Isaacson
transmission
is
and
back.
never saw the repair
Isaac
bit.
Med
All major parts
is back,
are covered.
and he will be
If I didn't
the
have
face.
endurance,
So
I would have paid
it'll be
over
nice
$7,000
to
out of
get that
pocket
done.
to repair my vehicle.
Again, all these
Something is going to break down.
Okay,
Make endurance pay for it.
That's just
Who's going to pay
all
for
these
your
nominees
next car
take too
repair?
long,
You
and we don't want to
or
see
endurance?
it.
Call
The
right
other
now
thing
to
we're
get
following,
$300
obviously,
off
this
any
evening,
plan, plus a full year of our top-tier elite
races,
benefits.
which, by the way,
a
will be
$2,000
over
value free.
relatively
and all
shortly.
endurance
Okay,
plans
just keep
come
that
with
in
a
mind. We're
30-day
21
money-back
minutes
guarantee.
away
Call
from
1-855-549-6520 for a
the
free
polls
quote.
in New York close. And let me tell you what happens.
A better heart health supplement. That's what we all want. That's why for 8
They
years
turn
now,
around
I've
and they
relied on this
say,
heart powder. It's
okay,
Super Beats,
we're calling
and I
it.
swear by it.
That's
Super
the end
Beats
of it.
is the original #1 selling
it.
beat
Game
brand
over.
for healthy blood pressure
and
support.
that's the end of it.
The only
So,
cardiologist
you'll be
recommended beat
looking at it
brand.
that way.
That's also trusted
So,
by
yeah,
over 40
the
national
election
championship
there
winning pro and college
in New
sports
York will be
teams
called,
for cardio powered
for
energy.
Mamdani,
For cardio
by
results,
then,
you can feel
as
the
soon
only
as it's
brand
over,
I trust
and
is
you
Super
could
Beats.
also take
Find
a
out
look
how
at
to get a free
New
month with
Jersey,
your
which will be
first
called
order
relatively
at livehuman.com.
Well, a little birdie told me rates are taking a dip, which means that dream home won't be there
I mean, all you have to do
forever.
is look at some of these
Don't
things.
let someone else beat
And
you
look
to
at
it.
exit polls. The
Start
exit
your
polls
search today.
have not been kind to the president of the United States. And there's
Make
something
this Christmas
here
the year you go all in on joy.
that
At Balsam
is
Hill,
worth noting.
celebrate with one of our
because
beautifully crafted lifelike
Donald
treats
Trump
for a limited
is-
time during our
is
Friends
gonna
and
be
Family Sale. Save up to
forced
40%
to
off
explain
and
some
start
of
making memories at
And you're going to have a lot
balsamhill.com.
of people question whether the movement of
Fox
Donald
News Alert, you're
is-
looking
is
live
like,
in Richmond, Virginia, where
still have
Abigail
any legs.
Spanberger's delivering
Tomorrow,
a victory speech.
they're going to tell you it
after
does.
Fox News projected her to be
And
the
as you can
state's
see up on the
next
screen here
governor,
right now, CNN exit
defeating
polls of
Winsome
voters, the
Sears.
key race is
We're
dissatisfied with
also
Trump,
watching
concerned about the
results in
economy.
New
They're
Jersey,
concerned
where
about the
it's
economy.
too
The
early
government
to
is shut
call.
down. They're
So waiting
concerned
for
about
polls
that.
to close in about 20
They are.
minutes
Now,
in New York
also,
City.
keep in mind, and
Fox
this
News
is
correspondent
worth noting
Alexis
here.
McAdams
All the
joins us
experts have
live
been
from
wrong on the economy.
Mamdani headquarters in Brooklyn. What's up,
Wait,
Alexis?
all of them. And they've been telling you
Hey, Jesse, yeah, so
for
here
years,
in Brooklyn is where it all kind of
they've been telling you
started
since
for
Donald
Zoran
Trump was
Mamdani.
running
It
for office,
was
if
only
he
last
wins,
year
the
that
economy
people
would
said,
collapse.
who is that?
And
They didn't even
every
shake his
month
hand
they
in the
tell
street when he
you
was trying
the
to
economy
launch
has
his
not
campaign here
collapsed.
in this
The
borough,
economy
and
has
now he's
not
got
collapsed,
quite
but
the
it's coming,
following,
it's
not
coming,
just in
it's
New York
coming, it's
City,
coming.
but
And
across
that's-
the country,
so you
as
beat
depending on
that
who
drum,
you ask, they think
and
he could
eventually
be
the
the
American
future
people
of the
will believe it.
Democratic Party. So here in Brooklyn, we are waiting again for those
Keep
polls
in
to
mind,
close, and the excitement does
you also
continue to
had
build. We've had some music on and
very
off.
high
The crowd
inflation leading
is
into
starting to
this
fill in. They
administration,
think they're going to have about
and
3,000 people inside
hates
of this
keep
theater
telling
out
you
here
this,
tonight
because I
in New
think
York
most of
City.
you
The things that Zoran
me and
Mamdani
never
ran
seen me
on that
before,
got him to this point,
know this
Jesse,
already.
are simple. He's going to give people free stuff.
The
and
talk
when a lot
of
of these
the
younger,
prices
more
are going to
liberal
come down.
voters here heard about that, like a free
stupid.
bus, maybe a
It was just
government-owned
stupid.
grocery
There was
store,
no-
and
there
I'm
was-
going to freeze
it
your
was
rent.
nonsense.
They got on board, and they got on board pretty
If
quickly.
Donald
But
Trump
when you ask even
wanted
his
to set
supporters,
reasonable
and I've talked to a
expectations,
lot
it
of
wouldn't be that
voters
prices are
across
going
the
to come
city,
down.
how's he going to do it?
It
They say,
would
I don't know. I don't
be
even know if he's
that
going to be able to, but I'd
prices
rather have
were
him
going
than
to
somebody
stop
that's in the
rising as
Democratic
fast.
establishment.
And that's
which
been
brings
done.
us to
Inflation is down
Andrew
2-3%.
Cuomo, who told me the other day
And that's
that he
where it's
considers
generally
himself a
supposed to
moderate
be.
Democrat, but he lost to
And
Zoran.
unfortunately, instead of making that his sort of message, it then became a situation where instead it was, well, why haven't prices come down? I thought you told us prices were going to come down. Okay, I mean, why haven't prices come down? So anyway, here it is. Last November, Donald Trump wanted with a return to the White House amid broad national dissatisfaction with the state of the country. A year later, preliminary CNN exit polls find the first major electoral test of the second Trump presidency take place with voters expressing similar pessimism and anti-incumbent sentiments despite turnover in the Oval Office. Anti-incumbent sentiment. Anti-incumbent sentiment. I don't know. I don't get that. I don't get that. Anti-incumbent sentiment. Well, what incumbents are on the ballot? Which ones are we talking about? And the answer is none. Across four closely watched contests, the governor's races in Virginia and New Jersey, and the mayoral race in New York, and the redistricting related Proposition 50 in California, majorities disapprove of Trump, with strong disapproval of his performance far outpacing strong approval. In Virginia, Virginia, New Jersey, and California, roughly more than half the electorate sees their vote as sending a message to Trump. Now, it is worth pointing out here. Okay, this is again somewhat important. It's worth noting here and noting loudly that these states are generally Democrat states. Okay, these states are Democrat states. And these states are going to find themselves in a scenario where they are not in the best place. They're just not going to be in the best place. They're just when it comes to Donald Trump's approval, they're not going to be in the best place. So people have to understand that. People have to understand that it's just not going to turn out well when they do these polls. What you could end up with is individual candidates that are interesting or matter, and people will hate this, but Chris Christie was one of those guys that could go into New Jersey and win as a Republican. And yes, depending on what day it was, he was either Trump's best friend or his worst enemy. Sometimes depending on who was paying him or whatever. But Chris Christie was able to get in and win in a seat that he wasn't going to win in. Okay? It was that simple. And unfortunately, that seems to be lacking in any of these candidates. And none of them were as interesting as Glenn Youngkin. None of them. None of them were as interesting as Glenn Youngkin. All you have to do is look at Glenn Youngkin. And Glenn Youngkin, he had the sweater vest thing going on, which was a bit. Got it. He also was able to seize on some of the social things that were going on, and when those things get solved, people forget about him. And that's exactly what's going on. So I guess they're going to need a reminder. And look at the reminder they're going to get in New York. Every single time a snowflake falls in New York City, the national media goes wall to wall. And they tell you how important it is. And every snowstorm, every hurricane, anything. Because it happens to them. This is going to be an interesting case. Because the media lives there. And they're going to see this up close and personal. Now, you'll end up with something. I don't know if you saw this yesterday with Nora O'Donnell. She was interviewing Trump. And when she was interviewing Trump, she was like, I don't know about the crime situation. I just haven't really been out there looking at it. Because she knows that in New York, or in D.C. rather, the crime situation has kind of resolved itself with Trump getting involved there. And she can't even explain what she believes on that issue because she's such a fraud. And again, we'll come back to this other thing here in a second, but I kind of want to show you this clip here because I think it's amazing. I think it's an amazing clip because it shows you how fraudulent some of these people actually are. And I find it to be really, is the right word disheartening? I don't know if the right word is disheartening, but I find these people to be so incredibly fraudulent that you just can't really believe anything that they say. So you find that to be kind of frustrating, as you should find that to be frustrating. And let's see if we can get this thing to work, because I kind of wanted to show you this clip here because I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, of course, that clip's not going to work as I try to play it. Delightful that it's not working. But either way, it's important to note.
Numbers are way down, even though we have a lot more people in our country.
So they have this clip here where this individual, Donald Trump, is speaking to Nora O'Donnell. And unfortunately for people who are unable to tell the truth, they look rather silly.
But we're cleaning up our cities. You know, I campaigned on crime, but I've done a much better job on crime than I thought. You know, the crime numbers are way down, even though we have a lot more people in our country that really shouldn't be here, and many of them are stone cold, hard criminals. When I look at D.C. now, you can walk down the middle of the street. You can have your daughter, who's 10 years old, meet you at the park. She's going to be okay.
In
she
certain
would have
parts
been
of
murdered.
D.C.
Well,
I live
almost,
in D.C.
Well,
Certain parts
you
of
tell
DC.
me, how big a difference is D.C. now compared to what it was a year ago? Right? I mean, you have to be honest with me. People in the White House, they walk up to me, young ladies I've never seen, sir, thank you very much. I know they don't even have to tell me what they're thanking me for. But when I ask why, he said, one girl said, I'd get into Uber, and I felt dangerous even in Uber. They'd attack the car, okay? It wasn't even safe then. Sir, I now walk to work every day, and I'm so safe. There's nothing going to happen, 100% safe. And you know that too, Nora.
I want to ask you about
You
this.
live here, you know that too.
I want to ask you about
Do you see a difference?
American
Do you
cities
see a difference?
in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
I think I've been working too hard. I haven't been out and about that
that's
much.
Just think about that as a reporter. I mean, just think think about that as a reporter. You're interviewing the president of the United States. You guys start talking about crime statistics, and you tried to say to the president of the United States, I've just been too busy. So the only thing she can tell you is things she's personally noticed, and that's it. Everything else, she can't tell you anything. And God knows she's just been so busy, she can't even figure it out.
Fair answer. You see a difference.
I get in my car and
Okay,
go
that's
to
a
work
good
and I
answer.
go home.
You don't have to use that one. Don't worry. Don't worry. I don't want to embarrass
I've been
her.
working too hard.
It's like, you know what the
Yeah.
difference is? Like day and night.
I love that he's like, I don't want to embarrass you. And then he has thoroughly embarrassed her. I mean, just absolutely, thoroughly embarrassed her. And there's no other way to see this. I think I saw a call for a race there. No, not yet. Anyway, so we're still continuing to follow this. Anyway, the polling shows, and I think it shows it pretty clearly here, that Donald Trump's unpopularity hurts. I mean, that's as simple as it is. It really is. It's not that Democrats aren't blown away. It says right here, with all these places voted Democrat in last year's presidential election, none currently give especially positive reviews to the Democrat Party. The party's favorability rating hovers around 50% in California and New York City, though the GOP is even more unpopular in those places. In New Jersey and Virginia, meanwhile, voters give roughly equal ratings to the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. So they are there looking at this and basically arguing that the economy isn't working for these people. And they don't believe the economy is good. They don't believe anything's better. And they believe things are still moving. And God, I'm watching one person in the chat just spam part of it and say that martial law, God, unbelievable. Martial law and Walmart have the same letters. God, this person is incredibly stupid. How embarrassing. I mean, honest to God, I'm going to respond to something here real quick. How incredibly embarrassing. I am embarrassed for you that this is what your life has become, that this is the kind of stuff that you're doing. I mean, there's not enough people chatting in the chat for me to pay attention to this because that is so stupid. I'm in pain. That pains me, and it's just embarrassing for you. So I'm gonna do you a favor and just make it to where I can't see anything you're saying, and because otherwise I'm gonna call you an idiot, and you're gonna get upset, you're gonna cry, and I'm not interested in dealing with that right now. Anyway, back to this. Did you guys know that Walmart and Mart Law, MARTLAW, they're the same thing, guys. They're the same things. All right, so if using the economy aren't uniform, most Virginian voters say that their state's economy is excellent or good. Most Virginia voters say that the state's economy is excellent or good, even as a majority say the federal government cuts this year have had at least a minor impact on their family's finances. Majorities in California, New York City, and New Jersey, by contrast, call their state's economic conditions not so good or poor. In each place, economic issues, taxes, cost of living, or the economy as a whole dominate voters' concerns. Taxes, cost of living, I mean, it is very clear which political party is better off on that particular issue. It's very clear. It's not Democrats. It's Republicans. Republicans are clearly better off on the issue of taxes and things like that, business environment and stuff like that. And that was the hope that people were looking at in New Jersey and saying, oh, well, maybe we can find ourselves a race in New Jersey that we'll be happy with, because in New Jersey, maybe you get something a little bit better and maybe the deck is stacked differently and we can pull one off there. That's not going to happen. Okay. I'm just going to tell you this right now. It doesn't really look like that's what you're looking at. So you already have a loss in Virginia. In 7 minutes, the New York City polls are closed. The New Jersey polls are already closed, and the results are starting to come in on that one. Obviously, it's too soon to call, but man, if you were looking at numbers, just numbers alone, you see those numbers on Fox News there. I think it was 58-41. 58-41. So you look at that and you say to yourself, man, that's bad. Okay, so just go from there. Just go from there. A question comes in: are the Republicans going to win anything? No, I told you that from the very beginning. If you go back and you look at the first screen that I had up, I'll even put it up here again. Look at this. Look at that. One of the questions I asked you is, can the GOP pull out a win in New Jersey? The answer to that is no. Was Virginia really even in play? The answer to that is no. How big will Mamdani's win be, and how screwed is New York City? The answer is probably pretty big, and the answer is vary when it comes to how screwed. And how much does this really matter? And the answer is, I don't know. Again, a lot of politics is perception and momentum. And as I was telling you before, the perception here in all of this is that this is going to look like an absolute sweep. That's how this is going to be perceived.
Hamas.
It is going to be perceived as a sweep because that's what it is. I mean, there's no other way to look at this. This is a sweep. This is a sweep. You have Democrats most likely going to blow this out across the board. And again, every single one. And look, you want excuse making from me? You're not going to get it because I've been the guy telling you all along. If you're hoping for some sort of situation where everything turns around and everything looks great, well, I'm going to tell you that was never coming. Okay, I'm going to just again, I want to make this as clear as I can for you. Okay, and this is just an honest take. Anyone who thought California wasn't going to go and say, yeah, let's go ahead and change our redistricting. Yeah, everyone knew that was going to happen. Everyone knew that was going to happen. And did anyone think that New York City was going to go for anyone other than Mamdani? This guy has been a force for a long time. Forget it. And this, again, people in my business are to blame for this as well. And I know. We all tell you, hey, I'm different. I'm different than everyone else in this situation. Everyone else is wrong. I'm right. Everyone else is bad. I'm good. Everyone else has got it wrong, and I have got it right. Right? Well, okay. Well, let me tell you this. I'm a realist. Okay? I didn't think that in New Jersey we were going to see a Republican take that seat. And if you look right there on the Fox News headline right there, it showed a second ago before it went away that Cheryl had a overwhelming lead. Not overwhelming was the word they used, but I forget exact words, but let's just say dominant lead in the ones that were coming in. And what that tells, there it is, solid lead, excuse me. So you saw those numbers coming in, and those numbers told you, hey, you probably shouldn't be looking at this and thinking to yourself, hey, can I turn this thing around? Because the answer is probably not. Okay? Probably not. And you probably can't turn it around. I mean, that's basically in that race. So, look, New Jersey's a blue state. New Jersey is always going to be a blue state. And sometimes Republicans will get in there, but they got to be big personalities. And that's the thing. That's the thing I don't really understand. What have Republicans learned? Big personalities are important. Yet they're not running any of those big personalities. And I don't mean ridiculous personalities. I mean big personalities. Tommy Tuberville is a big personality, but he's not a ridiculous personality. They can make the argument, oh, he doesn't know who the three branches of government are. They've been saying that for like 5 years now. It's just weird, sad nonsense. And fine, you want to make that argument? Go right ahead and say it over and over again. And here's what happens. Tommy Tuberville's approval rating continues to go up with the people he represents in his state. And so you can continue to say the same silly things about him if you want. The point in all of it is and should be very clearly that Democrats in some states have it on lock and Republicans have it on lock in other states. And in order to chip away in places where they don't, you need one of two things. You either need to have a really bad Democrat candidate. Well, I say that as I'm thinking through this. You got to have a really bad Democrat candidate. But in Virginia, you had a candidate who said shoot somebody, and the media was kind of just like, whatever. Whatever. It's no big deal. It's not a big deal. No. He just wanted to shoot people. I mean, just imagine if there was a Republican candidate saying to shoot people and kill them in their mother's arms. It would be nonstop coverage in every race, and every candidate would have to denounce, and it would never go away until that person fell out of the race. Sean writes this on Twitter. He says, Democrats being happy about victories that they should have won are laughable. Look, say that if you will. Okay, I'll give you that. Okay, yes. Again, that's kind of been my point here. You've got blue states doing blue state things. And what I mean by that is blue states with blue state candidates winning. We shouldn't be too surprised by that. But at the same time, you got to win the battles where they are. And in this particular case, Republicans are not winning the battles where they are. They're losing. They're losing. And yeah, they're fine. But you got to get close. Again, I hate to be like sort of like calling this myself, but if you can't get close, then you've got some big problems. That goes to tell you a couple of things. One, that it is possible that Donald Trump is the only thing voters will get excited about on the Republican side. That's the only thing they'll get excited about. They will not get excited about other candidates, even if they have tepid Donald Trump support. And keep in mind, their support for Donald Trump, or their support outside of Donald Trump, is relatively tepid. And hold on one second. Let me talk to my son here real quick. Hold on one second. So, anyway, Donald Trump's got to be on the ballot in order. He wants me to get up and race him, which I'm not going to do. But Donald Trump's got to be on the ballot in order to get the job done. If that's the case, well, then Republicans are in big trouble. As much as the Democrat brand is damaged, look at these numbers here. Virginia's not close. Virginia is not close. And with it not being close, that's a bad sign moving forward. Okay, because yes, it's a blue state. Of course, it is. It's got a lot of government workers, federal government employees, all that stuff. Absolutely. But you got to be able to put a dent in it. And if you can't put a dent in it, you got a problem. And they got it. So polls close in New York City. I'll read that as polls close in New York City mayoral race. That's not what it actually is. It means they've actually closed. And it is going to be a bloodbath. And it looks like, again, looking at that race there in New Jersey, yeah, there's not a lot of votes in so far, but with 1 million in so far, and what do they say? That's 30% or something like that. You've got a pretty insurmountable lead, almost a 20-point lead. So different numbers on Fox News where the lead's about 15 points. So yeah, this is a problem. This is a problem. You have Winston Earl Sears losing to Abigail Spanberger by 11. That's a problem. You got Mamdani and Cuomo. This is going to be a problem. And I love that number you see on CNN. I love that number they just showed. It's up right now, 18 to 29, 75% for Mamdani. 70% for Mamdani. Holy cow. No college degree, Cuomo up 42-38. And again, that number's interesting, but I don't think that's going to be enough to carry him. I just don't. And people were excited about Mamdani. And I am kind of surprised about this number. Maybe there's a message here or a story here. But among blacks, Mamdani, 52%, Cuomo, 37%. Now, granted, Cuomo's been a Democrat there before. People have voted before. This does not surprise me one bit, except for the fact that 31% of Democrats, or excuse me, 31% of Jewish individuals voted for Mamdani. But Cuomo was 60% of the lead there. That right there is very, very surprisingly. And I got to tell you, this race is obviously over in New York City already. So just call the damn thing. And you can call it. The one in New Jersey looks like it's almost over as well. You could say it's too close to call, but this is going to be a short night for a lot of us. Okay, I'm sorry. It's 9 o'clock Eastern. Virginia's already been called. New Jersey is 15 points down. The race in New York City is probably not even going to be even close. I thought that one was going to be a blowout, and I assume that's what it's going to be before all is said and done. And I'll tell you, if those were the numbers that showed up, if those are the numbers as they show up today, and it's like 51, 39, 8, and I think like 0.2 or whatever it was, then, there's nobody to blame there but New Yorkers and their politicians. I mean, that's the only people you can blame. I mean, obviously, though, right? Oh, New Yorkers and politicians are blamed for elections there? Yes. But my point is, if you could have got Silva out, if you could have got Adams out sooner, they're still on the ballot. I mean, there were polls coming out of there, or excuse me, there were notes coming out of there that those individuals were still on the ballot. So obviously, and you just saw they're obviously being voted on. But yeah, this is definitely not something that you should have been able to not see. Mamdani was going to get the lion's share of the attention. He's a young ethnic minority. He is well spoken. He is an immigrant. He is definitely someone who the media is going to love for all the reasons they have loved candidates forever. He has all of the markers, every single one of it. And again, the only thing really lacking here is the fact that he is not a homosexual. I mean, that's really it. Other than that, or transgender person. Other than that, he has, and we talked about it earlier, maybe you missed it, but the infinity stones of wokeness, as the Black conservative perspective says, and he has a good number of them. The only one that he's really missing there is the the gender non-conforming part of this. So anyway, they're going to try to rationalize some of these races to make them last a little longer. We're going to pull the plug as soon as it is apparent that the plug needs to be pulled. I do appreciate everybody watching and listening on various platforms. We are all spread out about different places. But overall, we are well over 1,000 people, and I appreciate that. I do. I'm going to try to stream more. Haven't really been doing it all that much. I don't really have a lot of time to do it with all of my various jobs. I did have 2 weeks where I was suspended from my radio show, where I probably could have done more of it. But I'll just be completely honest with you. During that time frame, I was kind of laying low. I wasn't trying to get in any trouble or anything like that. But that is exactly what I was doing. So I will try to do this more. So if you could like or share or do whatever the thing is, or even leave a nasty comment or whatever, I will be more than happy to thank you for that. But I do appreciate all the people on the various different platforms. So results still rolling in here. And we are continuing to watch this. A bad night for Republicans, a good night for Democrats. Again, look at my original questions. You can see them right there. Can the GOP pull out a win in New Jersey? I don't think so. Was Virginia ever really in play? No, it was not. How big will Mamdani's win be? Oh, man, I got a little typo in there. Let me fix this. How big will Mamdani's win be? And how screwed is New York City? How unprofessional of me. How screwed is New York City should be. And how screwed is New York City? And the answer to that is very. So that would have been it. But I got that wrong. That's been through the whole time. Oh, man. Bad at what I do. But anyway, there we go. Yeah, it's been corrected. So how screwed is New York City? And the answer to that is very. And how much does all of this matter? I think it matters more than a lot of the Republican or conservative talking heads will give you. And I think it matters less than you will hear from all of the Democrat talking heads. And you can go and look, and maybe I can even pull this up. But you can go and look. I wrote this every morning at yellowhammernews.com. I write a thing called The 7 Things You Should Be Talking About Today, where I lay out 7 of the big stories. You can follow me there at yellowhammernews.com. And I write these things called The 7 Things You Should Be Talking About Today. And in that, I lay out, I think I just said I lay out those 7 things. And I believe this morning, I did write a piece where I noted how this would be handled if various things happen. And I tend to stand by those things because, I'm generally correct on a lot of stuff regularly. So let's go ahead and bring that up and see what I wrote about this particular day and how this would all be handled. So let's scroll down and take a look. So here we go. Let me jump over here to the 7 things you should be talking about today. for today, Tuesday, and you can scroll down. And let's go to the very one at the very bottom. Nope, that's not it. Here it is. Election day polls and prior polls show Democrats preparing to sweep New Jersey and Virginia elections. Yeah, you got 15 points up in Virginia for Mickey Sherrill. And yeah, that seems like a blowout there. And you lost pretty big there in Virginia as well. So, okay, that seems right. With New York City's Democrat Zoran Mamdani expected to crush former mayor and current creep Andrew Cuomo. That seems to be where we're heading there. And California polls close later on, but we already know where that one's going. The redistricting in California's Proposition 50 for redistricting passing, sending a message about the direction of the country for the media. But if the results don't pan out like this, they will declare the results mean nothing. So there we go. They will declare that the results mean absolutely nothing, and that's not going to be the case here. They're going to say they matter very much because the beatdown is underway. And Republicans, you kind of deserve this. And hopefully this will be a wake-up call. But I have a problem. To me, at least I have a problem, that most Republicans will look at this and they will dismiss it outright. All right, here we go. We got the first results coming out of New York City. So let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. Oh, I love that they have Bill de Blasio there. That is my favorite thing. Let's make this a little bit bigger and take a look at this. Mamdani, 51.5. Cuomo, 39.7. Silva, 8.0. And Adams, 0.2. Who are the 1,929 people casting that ballot? That, to me, does not make much sense. But they go out and they cast it anyway. So you have it. And again, we're just looking at the numbers there. That says about, 36% of the vote in. God, if you're Mamdani, you kill for that, all right? You're killing for that. So that is, as much as people are not going to want to say, that is a bit of a blowout there. Fox News, here we go, 48.7. Silva with 11.5. And Andrew Cuomo with 39.0. And I guess this is just Queens they're talking about, so that's not the whole thing. And you will now see a scenario where, they're going to have a new mayor there. They're going to have a new mayor, and they are going to have, it's going to be Mamdani. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens, mostly because his biggest asset is going to be people telling him no. I'm dead serious about that. His biggest asset will be people looking at him and saying, no, this is definitely not something you should be doing, and he's going to be stopped. You have CBS saying the race for New York City mayor leans Democrat. I don't think that's a surprise there at all. And they show Andrew Cuomo, who is a lifelong Democrat, losing to Mamdani, who is a new blood Democrat. So all these numbers are continuing to come in, and now they're telling you that it's too close to call in this. But I do believe you're going to see here relatively soon that all this stuff starts to get called, because as I continue to watch with New Jersey, the fact of the matter is it's not great. It's not great. Is this going to be a referendum? There's a question for you. Is this going to be a referendum and be viewed as a referendum on Trump? Yes. Yes. They're already making that as clear as they possibly can. This is absolutely going to be viewed as a referendum on Donald Trump. It already is being viewed that way. They are already viewing this as an absolute referendum on Trump. And all you had to do is listen or look at the coverage. Yeah, you have people gleeful over this. It's going to absolutely be covered that way. And you're about to see all these D's start taking over here, because that's what you're going to run into. You're going to have D's and D's and D's in all of these races. And so we got 57-41 here. You got 52%. That race is over. I mean, anyone with any sense is calling this right there. And I guarantee you it's being called all over the place on the internet. I don't think that we're going to do this thing on cable news where we don't call things. But we need to understand that in the real world, these things are called relatively quickly. and they know exactly what's going on. They know the trends based on what you need in different voting areas and things like that. And I think you'll see a lot of people call this a lot earlier that they're calling it for Cheryl, and I don't think there's much of a surprise there. That's really the only one left in all of this is whether or not she's going to be the one who loses. And I mean, there you go. I mean, as I said, there are already people suggesting that this race. Here, I'll give you a little bit better of a look here. But there you go. Political polls. Cheryl wins the governor's race in New Jersey. Boom. 58 minutes ago. That was what was thrown out there. And I better not scroll down too much on these. I didn't really glance too much at that. But the fact is, it does look like that one is over as well. So they're going to call that here relatively soon. The mayoral race in New York City is too close to call. Yes, it will be viewed as a referendum. No, it is not a referendum. But because look, and I want people to get this. Okay, I'm a pessimistic human being. Sometimes that's true, but I want people to understand this real quick. If this was a situation where we were watching results coming in from Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, and Tennessee, if this is what was happening here, there's a 0% chance that people would be looking at this and saying, oh, well, that's really the message of where everything's going in the country. Nobody would view it that way. Nobody would view it that way. They would say these are regional elections. These are monoliths, which is what it is. I mean, Virginia, New Jersey, California, New York City. I mean, these things are monoliths. Okay, it is. They are Democrat strongholds as much as people don't want to make it out to be that Virginia is, because occasionally Republicans can get in there given the right situations and win. But I mean, 56-43? That's the end of Winsome Earl Sears. That's the end of her as a little bit of a flash in the pan candidate. I mean, that in political star. The bloom is off that rose. She will probably be treated like a Stacey Abrams, where they'll still trot her out and want to hear what she has to say a lot of times. But again, she's just not really all that compelling. And to quote some people who understand campaigning, she just didn't get out there. It wasn't able to resonate with the people or the donors in order to pull in that money. It just wasn't something that she was able to pull off. And that right there is definitely something that people have to think about. Will it take a long time? Will it take a long time for Mamdani to ruin New York City? Says a question. I don't know. I think I started answering this before. It's all about being told no. And this individual will be told no an awful lot. And it will not go over well with his base, but it will be something he's going to have to deal with. He will have to be told no because, and this is definitely something that Kathleen Hochul made clear. Kathleen Hochul, who stood there at his event and said, hey, I endorsed this guy while people yelled tax the rich at her. You may have heard her the other day saying, hey, just keep this in mind. I'm the one that's going to have to raise taxes. And you know what? I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to raise taxes like they want to, and they're going to have to figure out how to do that. So that is the case. Is there a chance that Sears can come back? I don't know. Are you looking at the numbers? What are we talking about? The real question you should be asking, is there a chance that that Ciancarelli can come back? And even the answer to that is no. Hell, you could be asking me, is there a chance that Cuomo can come back? And the answer to that is no. So these guys who, can they come back? No, this is over. This is over. And God, it is so freaking pathetic. Look at the Fox News headline. Chiron. Look at that. Look at how pathetic that is. The Virginia AG race is too close to call. The guy suggested it would be okay that someone murder a fellow politician and their children who would then die in the arms of the mother of those children. And it's like, yeah, maybe he said that, but he's also soft on crime. Well, yeah, no shit. The guy is going to be soft on crime because the guy's going to be soft on crime because he talks like a criminal. And he's got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. Look, you want the nation to be saved? Here it is. And this is a good question here. Do you think the Supreme Court in Louisiana will save the nation? You want the nation to be saved? Here it is. Yes. That's exactly, yes. The nation will be saved by the Supreme Court in a case out of Louisiana. Because what they'll do is they will open up the door for legitimate gerrymandering and redistricting, and Republicans will take advantage of that. Democrats have already done it. What are they going to do? They're already 9-0. What is it, 9-0 in Massachusetts or something like that? What are they going to do? Go 10-0? No, they can't do that. And all you have to do is also look at how illegal immigrants have skewed it. And you also have to look at how the census errors have skewed this. Now, what are they going to do to fix this? I don't know the answer to that. Outside of redistricting, I don't know the answer. But Democrats are still at a structural advantage in a lot of these places because of the way the census was done and the errors in the census that every single one of them favored Democrats. So because everything favored them and every error went their way, of course, these things worked out very well for them. That is not even close to a surprise. And we should be kind of irritated by it? Yes. Should we be realist? Yeah, also yes. We should absolutely be realist in all of this and understand that's what's going to have to happen to save the country. Because there are going to be pockets of this country that are going to, for lack of a better way to put it, fall. I mean, they're going to fall. They're going to fall to chaos. They're going to fall to lawlessness. And maybe Donald Trump sends in the troops to New York City when he starts getting his way. Because there's no way he's going to get his way in the sense of going to raise more taxes, provide more services, free buses, and all this other stuff. So you're going to have businesses leave, and it's going to become for lack of a better way to put it, a worse place. I don't know why I say for lack of a better way. It's going to become a worse place. And when it becomes a worse place, crime is going to go up. And when crime goes up, what you're going to find is an inability to deal with it or an unwillingness to deal with it. They just flashed a number on the screen from the New Jersey race. We'll pull it up here real quick. But they just flashed that up on the screen, and they talked about, they showed the numbers. And yeah, in any other situation, you'd look at this, and this would be the end of it. It would absolutely be the end of it. Look at this. Look at this right here. You have you have over 1 million votes, and 56.5% for Cheryl. And Torelli has 812,000, and he's got 42% and 57% in. They say it's too early to call. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Are they? So you've got 58% of the vote in, and you've got a 200,000 vote margin. They just got a whole bunch more votes in, and you got a 200,000 vote margin. Do you think? I mean, do you honestly think they're gonna make that up somewhere? There's a couple ways to look at this. There's a bunch of rural areas of New York somewhere, or New Jersey, which I'm told is essentially like Alabama, which sounds awesome. Just to be honest with you. I mean, Alabama is the best. I live in Huntsville, Alabama, and it's an awesome city. It's a great city. It's a great place to live. But you're telling me the rest of that place is that it better be, and that better be where all those votes are, and those votes better go overwhelmingly the other way. So in order for the votes that are left to make a difference for that race in New Jersey, they're going to have to be like 65-35, and they're not going to be. That race is over. It's not too. It's not. And again, it's not too close to call. It's not too close to call at all. Either is the race in. I'm looking at. I mean, right next to it. Look at the race in Virginia. They're calling that AG race too close to call. Is it? I mean, there's a smaller gap there with almost 80% of the vote in. Yeah, but it looks up. There we go. There we go. I called it. That's it. They've called the race in New Jersey. That one's over. That's over. That race is now completely over. So here we are. Polls have been closed for 23 minutes or something like that. It hasn't been that long. And now they already have it, or maybe it's been an hour and 23 minutes, excuse me. But they already have a winner there. So they haven't called it yet on Fox News, and this is, I believe this is the Fox News. Yeah, this is the Fox News page. So let's go ahead and jump over to what they're saying on television, because they've called it already. So you got Hannity and them saying the race is too close to call. That race is not too close to call. That race is over and done for, and I don't think we should be too surprised about that. So let's go back to the pre-screen here and see what we were looking at here when we were talking about this. Can the GOP pull out a win in New Jersey? I guess I should update these, right? Like I should take a look at this and say, can they? And the answer is no, stupid. They can't. I'm not saying you're stupid or I'm stupid, but that's the way this should be looked at. So can the GOP pull off a race there in New Jersey? No, they cannot. They cannot do that. What's the other one? Was Virginia ever really in play? Oh, I don't know. Are you looking out the blowout there? Because the fact that there's a blowout there tells you that no, I don't think it was ever actually in play. How big will Mamdani's win be in New York City? Don't have an answer then. And how much does it matter? It matters, but how do I put this? But probably not as much as the media will pretend it does. Let's put it that way. And so I'll probably make some spelling errors there. But I think that's a fair way to look at it. So let's see what that looks like with all my answers on there. Oh, my God, that doesn't work out very well at all. So I'll have to shrink that box up. This is what about doing stuff on the fly. Bad idea. Shouldn't be doing that. But this is exactly what it looks like because, yeah, it's over. So you're now seeing that in that race there as I play with my screens. You are now seeing that in New Jersey. MSNBC has called it. And that race is particularly embarrassing for Republicans there because that was supposed to be the one. And they just can't get it done. They couldn't get it done. And I think that the focus on New York hurt them and all the chaos and all the nonsense in the shutdown. Now, the question is, well, what does the shutdown talk look like tomorrow? That right there will probably be a bigger question. So there we go. Fox News projecting that New Jersey goes for Mikey Sherrill, and you have that race completely over. And now there is one race left that even remotely matters. And we already, I think, know the answer to that, and that is New York City. So, again, a complete wipeout for Republicans. And that is how it will be. That is how it will be branded tomorrow. And you will have a bunch of people say, no, it's not a wipeout. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's nothing. This is little stuff. There's nothing too much to worry about here. I'm worried about it. I'll be honest. I'm worried. Oh my God, I was doing the surrender cobra. I'm worried about it. You should be worried about it. We should all generally be worried about it because this momentum here is not going in the right direction. This momentum definitely is moving in the wrong direction here for the country. And Donald Trump and the government shutdown, will Republicans turn and say, okay, we've got to end this thing because the media will make this all about a government shutdown. They will. They're gonna make this about a government shutdown. Is it? I don't know. I don't think so. But they definitely are going to make it about a government shutdown. Let's go back and look at some of these polls as they have since they're all celebrating this. And again, they absolutely should be celebrated because it's a wipeout for Republicans here in these blue states. And that's what they are. Okay, don't get it surprised. Okay, they're wrong here. It is a wipeout for Republicans in these blue states. Now, here in New York City, if you look at this, you have Mamdani, who is doing better than Cuomo, obviously, but that's a little closer. And now we're going to have this stupid conversation. God, we are going to have to really have this stupid conversation about whether or not Silwa should have got out of the race. I mean, we're gonna have that conversation The answer is obvious. Yes, he should have got out of the race. No question about it. Would all of those votes, and this is what you have to think about, would all of those votes have gone to Mamdani or to, Cuomo? And the answer to that is probably not. And I just kind of remind people of something here. Cuomo sucks. Okay? Cuomo sucks. I mean, that's as simple as it is. It really is. It's as simple as it is. Cuomo sucks. And by the way, you might want to also scroll down a little bit and look at what's happening here elsewhere. I mean, forget about this Texas 18th district. Forget about that. But look at these other things. Pennsylvania Supreme Court retained the Democrat. Yes? No. The answer is yes. 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 So they retained all three of those Democrat judges there in Pennsylvania. So if you're a Republican, what exactly is the bright spot here? What is the bright spot? And the answer is there ain't one. And you don't have to have one. You don't have to have an answer as to what the bright spot is or any of that stuff, because there is no bright spot. This is a bleak situation. Okay, if you are a conservative, if you are a Republican, and you're looking at this tonight, this is a wipeout, a bloodbath, a mess, and it is definitely something that most people are going to look at and say, this is an L. This is a huge L. All the talk about these races being in play, it just wasn't true. It just turned out not to be true come election day. I mean, we're still discussing whether or not the guy who wants to kill people in Virginia, or at least says it's okay to do so. No, he said he wanted him dead. So, yeah, let's make sure we get that right. Yeah, they wanted him dead. That's fine with him. And he only lost a couple percentage points based on his behavior. And God, you know, you know what? If you're looking for the most embarrassing loss for Republicans, it might be that Virginia Attorney General's race. Think about it. What are Republicans known for? What are they known for? What is their best thing that they have going for them? The best thing they have going for them is their affinity for law and order. They love law and order. They push law and order. That's their thing. Law and order, law and order, law and order, law and order. That's really how Republicans should win almost every election. Law and order, law and order, law and order. And that's what they should be about. And you instead seem to be about to see, at least, a scenario where a attorney general who is, again, a absolutely awful, horrible, no good human being be put in a situation where he is going to be in charge of the state and the state's top law enforcement officer. How do you think he's going to handle that, by the way? What do you think he's going to do? What do you think he's going to do? You think that he's going to get in there and offer up some serious, realistic justice and give Republicans a fair shake? Because if you remember correctly, he's the guy who said what? What did he say? Oh, that's right. He said, let's go ahead.
You're a Spanberger supporter. What about her agenda? Did you?
Right. That's what he said. That clip you're hearing, we're going to jump into here in just a very quick second here. Here's a clip of a voter in Virginia talking about why they voted for Abigail Spanberger. Listen to this.
You're a Spanberger supporter. What about her agenda did you really like?
I'm really interested in seeing how we can improve women's rights. We need to get those back reinstated.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, Lauren. We really appreciate it.
How about this? What rights have you lost? That would have been a hell of a question to ask these people, but it's actually more instructive because it goes to show you that A, the media doesn't care, and B, let's be real about it, people don't know. They're voting on vibes and feelings. Well, there you go. All right, it's been called. That's it. It's over. It's over. A complete, total wipeout for Democrats or for Republicans. I mean, it's wild. This is a wild day. It's a wild day. It's exactly what I predicted. Don't get me wrong. I did not suggest anything else was going to happen, and I'm not happy to be correct on this. But all you have to do is look at this, and you will see So that win is big. And how screwed is New York? Very. So that's where we're at, guys. That's a pretty good rundown of this election. The Democrats swept everywhere they possibly could. It's a complete blowout and decimation. They should look at this and they should say, oh boy, what a total disaster. Will they? I don't know the answer to that. But I do know that Republicans better figure this out. A lot of economic strife that people are seeing. That's showing up in the exit polling. I'll talk about this tomorrow morning on WVNN in Huntsville. You can stream that online. You can also check me out in Chattanooga. I'm there from 10 until noon local time. You can check that out. It's going to be a sad day because I think this is a sad moment for the direction of the country. And the media is going to frame this as momentum. And right-wing talking heads are going to say, oh, they're just blue states, so it doesn't really matter. The truth is somewhere in the middle, as usual. But I appreciate those of you who hung around here. Don't forget to leave a like or a comment or any of those things. Thanks for being here. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Maybe on the stream, definitely on the radio. Bye.